Alright everybody, we have a ton to talk about today. So as I'm sure all of you are well aware, we the public did not get the gameplay showcase we wanted to see at Gamescom. However, it did happen. A 16-minute gameplay demo was shown, however only to insiders and a select few content creators. Which is really disappointing, but we still have a ton to talk about and lots of new details to share. So today I want to go through and break down what exactly was in that gameplay show, and talk about several of the new gameplay aspects that sound like they're going to be really cool. But as always guys, before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Elden Ring news, and for some other cool Souls videos that I think you'll enjoy. Now let's get into it. So I personally don't know when this gameplay was shown, but I know that a special interview was held for a lot of these big content creators, where they got to ask questions and watch the gameplay demo, and we have a lot of new details from that. Now I'm just going to rapid fire a lot of these off in no particular order, so get prepared. Number 1, here is a picture of the new hub world. This is going to be our new Firelink shrine where all the NPCs we meet will come and congregate. It's unclear if this is where we're going to be leveling up, but that's about all we know about it. We now have a name for the maiden, and her name is Melina. She's going to be the one that gives us the mount, and it was noted that there's something wrong with one of her eyes. Now as to what role she's going to be playing in the main story, we don't know yet. It was also said that she has the same blue glow as the mount, so not sure what to make of that. One of the main points that was shared across a lot of the people that got to watch the gameplay was how strikingly similar this game is going to be to Dark Souls 3. We're still working with the same health, stamina, and FP, and combat is going to feel very similar. We're also getting a new form of skill in the form of stances that I'm sure is going to vary based on the weapon that we're using, or the combination of weapons. But we know that being in these stances and using these attacks is going to consume FP. And also running off FP is going to be the spirit summons, and apparently they got to see a lot more of these, some of which included the giants that we saw pulling the cart, and even a dragon, and the pot boys, which we now know are going to be friendly, but if we break them, they're going to have treasure inside. So yes, unfortunately we are going to have to break the pot boys. Now another new detail that we got some information about is that we are going to have a map to accompany us on our journey. Now the map is going to start incomplete, but as we go through the game, we're going to find new pieces of the map that can be marked with things like weapon locations, dungeons, and other points of interest, and even our own custom waypoints that we can mark on the map and see in game that can help give us direction when we're lost. Now also throughout the open field are going to be mini labyrinths, which I heard are going to be very similar to the Chalice dungeon layout from Bloodborne, but aside from that we don't have a lot of details about them. As we explore the open field, we're also going to run into a lot of other interesting things. Field bosses are going to be these roaming bosses that we can encounter seemingly randomly as we explore. And we have a few confirmed ones. We know that there's going to be several of these dragons that come down as field bosses, and it was also confirmed that this character that we saw from this very early concept art is going to be a field boss, so I'm really interested to see how that fight's going to go. And speaking of boss fights, the main show of the gameplay was the boss fight with this character who we now know as Godric. Everybody that watched the fight said it was a very classic Souls fight that we should all feel right at home in. Now as we predicted, the second phase is going to take place when he takes the dragon head off and puts it on his left arm. Now like in the previous Dark Souls games, it seems like after killing a boss or even a field boss, it's going to spawn a grace or a bonfire. Now these graces are going to function exactly as we expected them to, but our firekeeper Melina will also appear at these graces alongside us, and this is where we can level up and upgrade our character. Now another big point that they've been driving home for this game is the use of stealth to sneak around really hard enemies that we don't want to fight right now, and we have a new tool in our arsenal for this. Sleep arrows are going to be a new weapon that we can use to incapacitate seemingly any enemy in the game. Now, these do sound a little bit overpowered, and the people that watched the gameplay said that it might be. Now, these sleep arrows are going to be craftable and purchasable from merchants with our currency, which is currently known as runes. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the big area that we've been seeing before, the Lion Castle. We now know is called Stormvale Castle, and it's one of the main legacy dungeons of the game. When the player first arrives at the castle, they're met with two options of ways of approaching it, and that is either to storm the front gate and alert all the enemies inside, or go around a back route and sneak your way through the castle. Now, something about this that has me really excited is that everybody's saying this is a very vertical level, and we're really going to be putting our jumps and all the new movement abilities to the test here. And another new combat ability that we're getting is the ability to block with a weapon and then immediately follow up with a swift attack. One of the new points of combat that was mentioned is almost like posture from Sekiro, where the enemies and bosses seem to have a limit after getting hit enough where they're going to be open for a visceral attack. Now, there's not going to be any visual meter for this, but it seems like it's going to be a crossover between the way viscerals worked on bosses in Dark Souls 3 and the way the posture built up on more of the rank and file enemies in Sekiro. Now, this has just been kind of a rapid shooting of all the new details that we've gotten from the content creators that actually got to watch this gameplay. And I think it's kind of a shame that they did it this way, because I know as the public we were really excited to get something at Gamescom, and we didn't, of course. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me that they didn't just go ahead and show this, because based off the testimony this sounded like a very well put together showing. And I think us as the fans really deserve to see this. You know, we still don't have any news about a network test or when we're gonna actually get hands-on with Elden Ring. So I really hope they decide to release this to the public soon, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Anyways guys, that's gonna pretty much do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I apologize for my voice. I'm still going through COVID and it's still pretty hard to talk. But I'm going to keep doing my best to keep you guys up to date with all the latest Elden Ring news, so if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button for me, and I'll catch you in the next one.